HydroFix. It's a new treatment for hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus is intracranial pressure that's persistent, it gets too high, and then if you don't relieve that pressure, you can cause brain tissue damage, you can even cause death. It's been around for a long time. If you look on the left-hand side of the screen, that's the current treatment, and it's been the same treatment for the last 70 years. The problem with that treatment, which is it starts in the middle of your brain in the ventricle, and they shunt it down to your abdomen, is that it fails at this really, really high rate. It's just a revolving door for both patients and surgeons. So it's costly. Just annual readmission costs in the first year are estimated to be about $1 billion. So that's the problem up there on the left. This is the only choice or some variant of that for these shunt patients, for these hydrocephalus patients. What we're doing, HydroFix, is that we're going back to the way Mother Nature does things. We're putting the CSF back into the sagittal sinus. CSF is either absorbed through the lymphatic system or through the venous system. We have the venous system right there above the ventricle. It's easy to get to. Historically, it's been done before. It started in the mid-60s. People have been doing this. But the sinus can scare you. There's a lot of blood flowing through that. So what we did is that we designed a technique, a surgical technique in an implant to allow us to do a very, very safe entry into the sinus, not require a pressure valve any longer, chop off 2 feet of rubber tubing, and do all of this in 30 minutes. So when you are looking at this from the patient point of view, it's a no-brainer, because we eliminate most of the reasons why the current shunts fail. We can treat all forms of hydrocephalus starting from age 5 onward, including normal pressure hydrocephalus. Some people know that as NPH. The combined global market is estimated to reach about $6 billion over the next 5 to 8 years. A lot of that market is because of NPH. NPH, by the way, is dementia, unstable gait, and incontinence, and it affects the elderly. The problem with treating NPH in the elderly with a conventional shunt is that it's an invasive procedure that fails. Why would you want to put a 75-year-old or an 80-year-old under general anesthesia, put that shunt in knowing that that could fail any day? So in the US, it's rarely done. Only about 1% of the NPH population is actually being treated with shunts, but shunting does work. But because of the failure rate, we don't do it much here in the US. What HydroFix can do is that we can use a single incision procedure under local anesthesia, doesn't require any super skills, and in very, very simple instrumentation. You need a scalpel and you need a burr, and a screwdriver, which we provide. So when we get onto the market segments, specifically the NPH one, as I said, it's a big market. We've got over 700,000 people in the US already diagnosed with this, but it's being undertreated. All right, so it's a big potential in the US. It's easily a $1 billion market segment. We've got one competitor, Ceravasc. They have an endovascular approach for doing this. They raised $124 million for this market specifically. We are a much easier technique and a much simpler implant to deploy than the endovascular one. So what will we do to dominate the market? All right, this is reliable. And I guess I could show you right now. I don't think any of you can see it, but there's a little tiny tip on the end of this implant. Maybe the camera can zoom in. I'll hold it here as long as I can. That's the implant. Forget the rest of this. The implant is right at the tip. That's how small it is. Again, no special training required, low cost of goods, good high margin product. We've had a very experienced team develop this. Our next stage right now is to get through our GLP animal study. After that, we're going to go OUS with a pilot study. We have been talking to the FDA along the way. We are a Class 2 device. We are currently following a de novo pathway. Multiple exit points depending on who wants to exit when. And that's the device again. That's where it goes. It goes on the sagittal sinus, right at the top of your head. It's right below your skull. And it's held in place by a couple of screws. There's a couple of more instruments I'm not showing you there. And it mimics what Mother Nature does by putting the CSF back into the sinus, back into the venous system for drainage. And again, we don't need a valve. It's self-regulating because of its design. There's no moving parts.